So, Brother Bradley, are you okay? Can we continue? Your mic is mute, brother.
All right, you can hear me now?
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do. We can.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, brother, but
I think my internet is having some problem. We are sorry for that. Okay, there we go again. So inshallah, we will be inviting just now Dr. Adlina Haj Arifin, which is the Deputy Director at Research Management Center, and at the same time lecturer at Kulia of
we are sorry for the technicalities. I hope Brother Baldi can come and continue to be the moderator for this session. So may I replace him instead waiting for him? Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all the participants. Welcome to the webinar on employing qualitative method in research studies, some do's and don'ts. Today we have our honorable speaker, Assistant Prof. Dr. Adlina Haji Arifin, Deputy Director of Research Management Center and Lecturer of Kulia of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. We are very sorry about our technical issue. So without further delay, I would like to invite our honorable speaker to start her session.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته and a very good morning. Thank you very much to Sister Damia and also to CPS, Center for Postgraduate Studies, a place which I served for quite some time. Alhamdulillah, thank you for the honor. Thank you for the opportunity given to share my experience in using qualitative research, which I think is actually very inshallah, I hope the session will be very useful. I hope the session will be interactive in nature. Yeah. Okay, let me just recite this. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Okay. So when I look at the list of participants today, alhamdulillah, it is now 102. it tells me that, Alhamdulillah, there are many people who are actually interested to do qualitative research. That is really good, Alhamdulillah. And I also noticed that among the attendees today, there are also my own colleagues. Yeah, my own colleagues. Alhamdulillah, thank you for joining. And also, I believe people from outside UIA, which is really wonderful. Yeah, it shows that people are very interested to do qualitative research. They really want to know what it is all about. Yeah. So I'm going to share with you my experiences in dealing with qualitative data, in writing qualitative proposals, which when I actually supervise my own students, I make sure they do the same thing, because I feel that it works for me. So inshallah, it will work for my students as well. And so far, alhamdulillah. Okay, so I'm here to share. But I'm very sure there are many of you out there who are also well versed in qualitative research. Yeah, so you can also share later on. Yeah, and to all PG students, yeah, as a brother moderator mentioned just now, yeah, that we PhD, or your postgraduate studies, they are all it's a very lonely journey. That is very, very true. Yeah, Brother Balde, okay, Abdullahi, who is a PhD candidate. I do agree with that. Okay, PhD is a very lonely journey. Especially when you are not taking any courses anymore. Okay, so you have to have a certain kind of confidence and determination to finish your studies. Okay, I think that is a very, very important thing that you have to have, that grit, that determination that I am going to get this completed. Okay, all right, so I was there. I did my PhD at the Kuliah of Education, alhamdulillah. And just for information, one of my co-supervisors was actually our dear Prof. Ida Madiha. Okay, so alhamdulillah, now we are good friends, wonderful friends. Okay, so let me just share with you what I have prepared for you. Yeah, inshallah, I do really hope, on this Friday morning, inshallah, the things that I will share with you will be something of barakah to everyone. Yeah, and we can learn from each other. That is the most important thing. We can learn from each other. Okay, I'm now going to share my slides. Mia, can you tell me whether you can see the slides or not?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay. Okay, so the title of my presentation today is Employing Qualitative Methods in Research Studies, Some Do's and Don'ts. Yeah, I have to put a caveat that I am not going to cover all types of qualitative data collection methods. Rather, I will be focusing on a few, okay, which I am very familiar with, and they are interview as well as think a lot protocol. I think think a lot protocol is a very uncommon kind of data collection method, which I would like to highlight and to share my experiences in employing it. Yeah. Okay. So Bismillah. Okay. All right. So basically, during this presentation, I hope to finish this by 11:30, inshallah, so that we can have maybe half an hour of Q&A. We will see how it goes. Yeah. All right. So there are 6 important things that I am going to share with you today. The first one is we are going to, roughly look at what qualitative research is all about. Okay. just some refresher lah, yeah, because I know some of you are more well read than me, okay, because when you're doing your PhD, you have all the time in the world. That is one thing I love about doing PhD. I have all the time in the world to do whatever reading that I want, okay. So I know that you are more knowledgeable than me in that sense, but we'll just like recapitulate what we know about qualitative research. And also, why should you use qualitative research? You have to know why. Okay, you have to know why you use qualitative research, because when I receive students coming to me wanting to be my supervisee, and I always ask them to give me the problem statement, the research objective, research questions, and then the methodology that they want to employ. And when I look at the research objective and RQ and the methodology, they don't tally at all. They don't tally at all. Okay, what you want to get from the study you will not achieve by using the method that you have mentioned in your proposal, for example. Okay, so you have to know why you are using qualitative research and what it is for. I think that is very important. So we're going to look at common data collection methods, and I will also be sharing with you an uncommon one, and how I had to deal with this uncommon technique. Yeah. And this one here, courtesy bias, number 4, this is very important. I think many of us may not have come across this or may not have experienced this, but I did. Alhamdulillah, Allah has given me the opportunity to come across this bias during my my research, and I want to highlight to you what it was and how did I identify this bias. I will narrate. I will narrate. Share with you my experiences. Yeah, and then also we are going to look at data management. How can you manage qualitative data, and then and also data analysis. Okay, so there will be 6 things, inshallah, that I'm going to share with you throughout this presentation. Okay, so I shall take questions at the end of my presentation. So let's look at what qualitative research is. So according to Creswell 2020, qualitative research is an inquiry process, okay, of understanding based on distinct methodological traditions to explore social or human problem. I think this is very important because qualitative research is very important and very useful when we are trying to explore some social problems and particularly human problems. Okay, it is a very, very useful tool. Okay, from the qualitative research, okay, a researcher can build complex, holistic picture. Okay, where the researcher will have to analyze the words, okay, and then later on report detailed views of the informants and conducts the study in a natural setting. So the words or the phrases that I have highlighted here, they are distinct features of qualitative research. It is a form of inquiry. You are inquiring, okay? You are not imposing your views. You are not having any set of variables, okay? Even if, for example, you want to see the relationship between A and B, all right? You don't have a set of variables. Let the variables come up, okay? Show itself or show themselves when you analyze the data. Okay, that's how it is. Okay, so during my presentation, I will also be showing you some differences between qualitative and quantitative. Okay, so that inshallah, hopefully you can understand the concept better. Okay, all right. So the characteristics of qualitative research, this one by Bogdan and Bicklin. Okay, number 1 is naturalistic. Okay, where you conduct the study in the natural setting. Okay, in the natural setting, which means that it's not done in the lab. Definitely, it is not experimental in nature. Experimental meaning, for example, you have two groups of for example, two groups of students. Okay, one you do not give any treatment, the other one you give some sort of treatment. So that is experimental in nature. But for qualitative, we don't do that kind of thing. We do not experiment on the human beings. Rather, we go to the human beings and ask them, why are you facing this? Why are you feeling like this? Okay, that is, okay, what it is, natural setting. So if let's say your research is regarding students in the schools, you have to go to the schools. If let's say your study is, last time I remembered when I gave this talk to ICOLians, to ICOL lecturers, some of them were saying that, you know, they are now doing research on prisoners, in the jails, all right, in the prisons. Okay, so I said to them, you have to go to the prison. You have to go to the prison. You have to meet the prisoners. You have to talk to them. So that is the natural setting. Okay, so I want you to have a clear idea. Okay, that is the meaning of natural setting. Okay, and it cannot be even pseudo natural setting. It should be the real natural setting. Because why, brothers and sisters, you know, as a researcher, when you go to these places, okay, the effect is not just on your interviewees or your respondents, but also on you. You want to know how it feels to be in the school. You want to know how it feels to be in the prison. You know, that eerie or scary thing. You want to feel all that. That's part of you know, being in the research setting. Okay, you have to experience all this. So that is why, to me, every time I do research, it is a very, very special experience. Okay, only the researchers will face that. Only the researchers will go through this. Okay, so we are so, if you become close to the setting. Okay, you're not detached. It's not simply like, oh, you give out surveys, all right, please answer. You know, it's not like that. You go, you see them. For example, if you are meeting the B40s, the poor, the poor in the society, you see how they live, you see how they eat. You know, you eat what they eat, if possible. Or maybe you are doing research of the orang asli, the aborigines. Okay, you go to their place, you go to their home. Margaret Mead was a very famous researcher, was a famous researcher in the United States. Okay, who did ethnography. Ethnography is a kind of qualitative where she lived with the native people. Okay, not that she became one of them, but she became part of that society. So that is the meaning of natural setting. Okay, natural setting. So the researcher is the key instrument in a qualitative research. The researcher is the key instrument. You are playing a very big role. Okay, because you are in it as well. Okay, you are in it as well. You can feel what they feel. That's the beauty of qualitative research. You really meet those people. You really talk to them. Okay, sometimes maybe you have to go through what they went through to feel what they feel, and then talk to them. Talking, that's how you get the data, you know. Okay, so we are the key instrument. Okay, and of course, when we talk about natural setting, the context plays a very, very important role as well. Okay, so the context can be, as I said, you know, it can be university, it can be the school, it can be a country. All right, it can be a company. Okay, it can be even if let's say you're doing a research in a hospital. Okay, so the hospital will be the context where you want to meet the participants, you want to talk to the participants. So that hospital will be the context of your research. Okay, now descriptive data. Descriptive data. When we talk about qualitative research, okay, the data is very detailed and very rich. You have rich descriptions, okay, of this on that particular thing. All right, very rich descriptions, and you need to and I will show you later, yeah, the forms of data that you will be able to collect. I will share with you in a while. Okay, this rich data, because it is very rich, meaning various forms and, you know, voluminous. Okay, voluminous of data. Okay, you have the pictures, you have the files, the documents, okay, the interviews, okay, all sorts. Okay, so how are you going to manage all this? Okay, that is another thing. All right, how are you going to do that? So the rich data can be in the form of words, can be in the form of pictures, of audio visuals. Okay, and of course, and another thing that you have to take note of, because it is, you when you are collecting these rich data, okay, qualitative research has been known to be very time consuming. Unfortunately, this is the setback of qualitative research. Okay, if you are planning to do something which is a very short time, 3 months kind of research, okay, it's impossible for you to do qualitative. Okay, because you need time to collect the data, all right, and then to put them properly, to manage them properly, structure them, put them systematically, and then you do the analysis. Okay, so a lot of things that you have to take into consideration when you want to do qualitative research because of the time factor. That was one of my main hurdles. Okay, when I did qualitative research. Yeah. Okay, next one is concerned with process. Okay, so qualitative research is very much related to process. The process, of you doing it, you have to make sure that the process is correctly done. It's the process. Okay, it's not so much on the product or the outcomes, but it's the whole process, because it's like this, brothers and sisters. What it means here is you will be collecting the data throughout. For example, if let's say you go to the school, the moment you step into the school compound, okay, that's when the data collection starts. Even before you went to see the students, okay, you will be doing observation, you will be observing the place, you will be looking at the teachers, you will be talking to the teachers. Those are already part of your data. Those are the things that are part of your data. Okay, not just meeting the students, talking to them, listening to what they say, not just that, but the whole process. So it's very much, I would say, experiential in nature. Okay, the whole process, the whole duration. Okay, so it's not, as I mentioned to you again, it is not about, it's very different from quantitative, where you have some kind of survey, or maybe you have some kind of instrument, you just give out to them, ask them to fill up, okay, and that's it. Khalas. Okay, that to me, that personally, brothers and sisters, not that I do not use survey questions or questionnaires. I do use questionnaires, but normally in my research, there will be 2 phases. The first phase will be, okay, I will do the survey or the questionnaire, but the second phase will be going to the people, talking to them, get nearer to them, get it out from their mouth. Okay, that is my nature. Okay, I normally use mixed method. Okay, and then so when we say process, we want to know, how do people think? Okay, right? So these are the things. Okay, how do people think? How do they perceive this? Because for example, brothers and sisters, I am in language. I'm looking at linguistics. Okay, so many people think that my job is just to correct grammatical errors. Allahu Akbar. To be honest with you, I'm doing more than just correcting the grammar. Okay. I also look at body language. I also look at, when people talk in a certain way, why are they talking that way? Why, like, for example, why do they think that way? For example, in communication, when I'm talking to you like this, okay? When I'm talking to you like this, I hope that all of you will be able to get and to perceive the data, what I'm saying as it is, but you may have a different opinion altogether. Okay, so sometimes we say this, but another person will think it differently. So that's why we have to go back to that person. Do you really, what do you think about what I said just now? Okay. And then only we realize that, oh my God, you know, that's not what I meant. What I meant was this. You know, I think all of you can experience this when you are talking to your children. When you're talking to your children, when you say something, all right, you thought that the child understands you the way you want the person to understand. But actually, when you ask the child, what do you actually understand? You will get a different thing altogether. Okay, the child may think of it in a different way. Okay, because each of us are very unique. Each of us have our own experiences, have our own knowledge, do our own reading, have our own kind of thinking. Okay, so that's why to me, qualitative research is a very strong method of going into the minds of the people, the heart of the people. Okay. Now, like for example, how does the traumatic experience affect one's behavior? Traumatic experience right now, like at the moment, we are facing this pandemic. Yeah, this COVID-19. Okay, a lot of things can be done. Okay, as a matter of fact, I am working on a recent project. Okay, looking at the effects, the psychological effects of women working from home. Okay, in facing distress, yeah, working from home. So I am using my knowledge. Okay, I'm using mixed method. Yeah, the survey as well as qualitative research. Okay, now inductive. What is the meaning of inductive? Okay, inductive means that you are not inductive is like this, yeah, brothers and sisters. Maybe I later I will give the explanation later. All right, I mean a more detailed explanation later, and also make you see what I see. But generally, inductive means this. What I mean by inductive is that when we get qualitative data, okay, our mind is blank, meaning our mind should be neutral. We are not biased. We cannot be biased. Okay, we look at the data as they are, and we try to extracting. Okay, we extract all the data. All right, it's like what is the data telling us? What is the data telling us? Now, brothers and sisters, researchers are humans. Okay, researchers are humans. I'm very sure that before you do or before you carry out your research, you would have done a lot of reading. Okay, literature review. My supervisor asked me to do a lot of literature review. Okay, every week I have to read about 50 articles. Very good. But the thing is that the moment, definitely after doing the reading, you would have some sort of a framework or some concepts in your brain. Okay. Never mind. Good. Put that concepts away. Put that concepts aside. When you look at the data, your data, the data that you have collected, look at them in a neutral way. Do not have any kind of framework or whatever. Don't impose it on the data. Let those things come out by itself. See those things coming out. That's what I mean by inductive. It is like bottom up. Okay, bottom up approach. Okay, let the data speak to you. So from there, okay, then only you can develop a theory. You can look at the analogy, and you look at what these people are telling you, and you extract. You know, like for example, the B40s. What are they telling you about their experiences? Okay, so you take it from the horse's mouth. Okay, the English says from the horse's mouth. You do not impose it on them, but let them tell you. Let them tell you. Okay, so that is the meaning of inductive. Okay, inductive. Okay. And then next one is meaning. Okay, meaning. The meaning-making process. Meaning-making process. Okay, the meaning comes from the participants or informants. Okay, the meaning. Okay, the meaning of whatever, you know, that you are trying to study, it comes from the participants or informants. Okay, it must be from their perspectives. However you disagree, brothers and sisters, however you disagree with the informants or participants, you know, you cannot twist your findings to suit what you want. Okay, to suit what you want. That is unethical. This is another thing I should touch on. Being responsible researchers. You cannot twist, you cannot change it. Okay, to fit into your preconceived ideas. That is dangerous. Okay, if they say yes, you have to write yes. If they say no, you have to write no. Okay, so you look at the participants' feelings, opinions, beliefs, experiences. Okay, you are relating to that. And then capture holistic perspectives. Holistic, I think that's a very important word there. Holistic, overall perspective, rather than trying to, you have hypotheses, you have certain variables, and you just want to see the links between the two variables, that kind of thing. We don't do that kind of thing in a qualitative. Okay, and it says here researchers do not have preconceived ideas, or I must say researchers must not have preconceived ideas. When you go into the field, when you are thinking of one area that you want to do, you have to go in with a clear mind, okay, with a clean slate, and be prepared to face whatever the audience, or sorry, the respondents are going to tell you. Okay, that's how it is. Not that okay, it has to be a, it's like it's something like in quantitative, you have hypothesis, so you want to make sure that, oh yeah, you want to ensure this particular hypothesis stands, so you make sure all the findings fit into the hypothesis. That is also unethical. Okay, so for qualitative, no, you do not impose things. Let the data speak for itself. Okay, a little bit on the differences between qualitative and quantitative research. Okay, so for qualitative, all right, it is subjective in nature. Subjective. Okay, whatever that you get, that's what you report. You do not have any preconceived ideas. It is holistic in nature. Holistic. Okay, it is phenomenological. Phenomenological means that, remember we talked about trying to solve certain social problems. Okay, you look at that phenomena. Okay, you look at that particular phenomena. Okay, and you investigate that phenomena. Okay, so for example, like COVID-19, it is something new. It is unprecedented. Okay, so this is a phenomena. So you go into it and deal with it and investigate this phenomena. Okay, and try to make sense of it. What is it actually? How are the people surviving at the moment? Okay, for example, I give you a very simple example. Like yesterday I received this this message regarding the rate. Sorry, not the rate. The numbers of divorce cases. Okay, I received. This is a credible source. It is a credible source from the PM's office. Regarding the number of cases of divorce in Malaysia from January until August, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's very, very bad. Okay, the numbers, Allahu Akbar, it's not good at all. Okay, so this phenomena, this case, this is the thing that is happening now. Okay, the increase in the divorce cases during COVID-19. Okay, that is a phenomena. That is actually a very, very interesting area to look into. Why is this happening? Okay, what's happening in the families? Okay, we are supposed to be resilient together, husband and wife, but what's happening now? Okay, everybody is breaking away. Okay, so that is phenomena. Naturalistic, it is natural because you go into the natural setting, and then it is soft data. Soft data meaning, it is there's no number in it. There'll be a lot of words, descriptive in nature, descriptive. Okay, descriptive in nature. So soft, and then inductive. Okay, inductive, as I said to you, let the data speak. Okay, you don't impose any variables onto the data. As compared to quantitative, it is objective in nature. It is reductionist. Okay, it's not holistic. It's just looking at this one particular relationship between this, and whether there is a significant or non-significant correlation and things like that. Okay, it is scientific. It is contrived or artificial. It can be artificial. Okay, empirical. It is empirical in nature. It deals with a lot of numbers. Okay, but I have to admit that qualitative can also be in terms of numbers. When you report, it can be in terms of numbers. It need not be in a descriptive or narrative only, but you can also have numerics in your when you report your findings. Okay, and quantitative has this experimental element in it, and it is deductive. Deductive because you already have some concepts, okay, that you have to abide by when you do quantitative research. Okay, so in general, what we can say is that a quantitative approach focuses on the breadth of the research, while qualitative focuses on the depth. Okay, all right. Okay, so take note of this. Quantitative is the breadth of it. Okay, the aim. That is why when you look at the quantitative paradigm, the quantitative paradigm, the eventual aim is to ensure that the findings can be generalized. It can be generalized to the whole population. So it has its own procedure in order to ensure that the findings, that the eventual output can be generalized. However, for qualitative approach, because you go deep, it is impossible for you to generalize. Okay, you know, I have read people who have done one research, okay, one PhD research on just one person. Let me tell you that. Okay, using qualitative approach, just one case study. The case study can be a person. Okay, but the depth of the information, okay, is amazing. Okay, you just want to focus on that particular person. So that is a case study. Okay, so you have to know, you have to ask yourself when you do your research, okay, do I want to generalize this, or do I just want to look at this to do this study on these people, the aborigines, for example, and go deep into their culture, their language, okay, their semiotics, okay, etc., etc. You know, you go really deep. Okay, but breadth is like, even when you for quantitative, because you go for breadth, the kind of questions you ask will also be will have a different way. When you write your questions, it will be very different from qualitative. Okay, so why should you use qualitative research? Why? Okay, you should ask yourself, okay, why should I use qualitative research? Will it help me? Will it help me to achieve my purpose or the objective of my research? Okay, so reasons to use qualitative research. Okay, let me put it this way. It says, this is what I understand. Okay, you use qualitative research when you want to get the answers to the questions of how and why. Okay, how does this happen? Okay, and why, especially why. You want to know why. Why did you do that? Some people, you ask them, don't you know that it's wrong? Yes, I know it's wrong, but why did you do that? That kind of conversation, because you want to probe further and further and further, and sometimes you will realize that the answers can be like, it really wows you. Like for some people, they will feel that they know it's wrong. They know that in terms of religion, it's wrong. And then when you ask them further, why did you do that? Oh, because because that was how I was brought up. You see? So then it's like Allahu Akbar. Okay. Then that is something new. That is something new. Okay. So it means that this has got to do with parental upbringing or family upbringing. Okay. So to me, I love to do qualitative research because I am able to understand the feelings of these people better. Okay. I can really understand them, why they do things they did when even the society feels that, while the society or even the religion feels that it's wrong for them to do. But why did they do that? Okay. So I mentioned here that find answers to the questions of how and why, to the answer of what? To the answer of what? Okay, I will show you an example. Okay, I will take it from my own research. Okay, as an example to show to you how I did it. Okay. I think somebody needs to mute her. I think it's Tengku Fatimah, if I'm not mistaken. It's coming up. The name is coming up, Tengku Fatimah. Can you please put yourself on silent mute, silent mode, please? Thank you. Okay. So how should you write the research questions? If that is the case, how should we write it? Okay. How should you write the research questions? Okay. Let me just share with you what I've done. Okay. What I've done. Okay. So this is an example, all right, of my research, an FRGS grant that Alhamdulillah I managed to secure. Okay. And the title of my research is developing a model on effective promotion of halal concept to increase halal awareness through multi-perspective approaches for the halal food industry. So this is my FRGS grant. Okay. And I want to share with you the research questions that I have submitted. Okay. This is for RQ2, means research question 2. Okay. For my RQ2, I was looking at how does the promotional discourse affect consumer behavior in the purchase of halal food products. So I was looking at that. So I am interested in looking at how. Okay. All right. How, what, in other words, I'm trying to find, all right, I'm trying to find out how promotional discourse means the promotional materials, okay, like the flyers, the halal packaging, okay, all the paraphernalia of promoting halal food. Okay, so I'm looking at all these things, all right, and I want to see in terms of the language aspect, okay, how does the use of the language affect, okay, consumers' behavior in purchasing halal food products. And I am trying to look from the Muslims' perspective as well as non-Muslims' perspective. Okay, so I'm looking at how. So because it's how, all right, I know in my heart that it has to be qualitative because I want to know how. I want them to explain to me. I want to hear from the perspective, from their own words. Okay, so the specific questions that I have put forth were: how do the customers perceive the discourse? How effective is the promotional discourse in persuading customers to gain their confidence to buy the products? How do the customers perceive the reality as represented in the promotional discourse? Okay, the reality. So if, let's say, for example, okay, you have a packaging that has this halal logo everywhere, halal logo, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we want to know the reality. The reality meaning, okay, the customers, do the customers believe, when you put, even if you put hundreds of halal logos on your packaging, do they really believe that? Okay, I have to admit that some of you, some of our customers, they don't believe. They don't buy. They don't get persuaded by the logos because they feel that some are just fake. Fake logos are everywhere. So you see, this is the kind of thing that we want to get from our participants, from our respondents. Okay, And I also look at how the promotional discourse affect awareness and understanding of halal concept among Muslim and non-Muslim customers. Okay, so for some non-Muslim customers, when we interviewed them, they said that, well, to them, some of them, they don't care whether it's halal or not. Some of them, they feel that good. If there is a halal logo, it means, or halal words, or, you know, anything that is Muslim friendly or halal and all that, they feel safe. They feel that the product is secured, you know, it's safe for them to eat. Okay, but some non-Muslims, they don't want to buy, because to them, halal means the food is meant for the Muslims only. It is the Muslims' religious food. You see, that kind of perception. See, something which I have never thought of before, but it's coming out from their mouth. Okay, so these are the things, okay, that you want to find out. Okay, and then RQ3. Okay, this is another way of this is another way of writing your research question. Okay, to what extent? This is another thing. To what extent does the existing promotion discourse contribute to the achievement of...
Letak dekat pintu satu warna oren. Kan ayah pakai tu kan letak dekat tu. Ha?
Okay, I repeat, yeah. To what extent does the existing promotion discourse contribute to the achievement of industry insiders' aims? Industry insiders' aims means that I'm also looking from the perspective of the industry, of the companies, okay, which produce halal food products. Okay, so I want to see to what extent. So when you see the way I'm writing, the way the questions are being written, okay, the moment people look at this, they know that, to what extent it cannot be quantitative. It is definitely qualitative. Okay, now let's look at the specific questions. What are the strategies and aims of the industry insiders that guide the promotional discourse they create? Okay, so you see this one here, all right, I'm not saying that for qualitative research, you cannot use the word what. You can use the word what. But after that, you see, look at my next question. How effective are the employed strategies? So after, you know, it's not just knowing what strategies, what were the aims, you know, what did you do, what were the approaches? You also want to know why did they come up with the strategies in the first place. So that's why you have the question of how or why. Okay, so that is why it's very important for you to have a good idea, all right, of how to curate, okay, how to curate your research questions. All right, moving on. Okay, so the take-home points, all right, is that when using qualitative research design, be careful in the way you word the research questions. Remember that the RQs are mainly to answer the questions of why and how. Okay, why and how. So those are the two main things. Okay, now here I am sharing with you. I'm sharing with you my framework of research procedure. This is something that I feel very useful. Okay, let me be very honest with you. When I did my PhD, okay, my PhD was in 2 phases. Okay, with varieties of data collection methods. So I was thinking that, you know, because I'm a visual person, as much as I love words, okay, I love to write, you know, I describe things, but I am also a visual person. That is something I noticed, okay? So I feel that I want to ease my supervisor's pain in reading my work. So I thought that, yeah, I might as well have this framework of research procedure, which I would like to suggest to all of you to do the same thing. But of course, to our PhD candidates as well as postgraduate students, you know, you have to seek permission from your supervisors. Maybe they don't like it. Okay, I don't know. Okay, because I believe each supervisor has his or her own style of doing things. But I'm just sharing with you what I did. Okay, if it works for you, alhamdulillah. If it doesn't work, okay, never mind. But But for me, okay, because it worked for me during my PhD, I also shared this with my supervisors, and I am also sharing with all of you here today, which I feel that is very important for you to have this framework of research procedure, especially when your research is, you have different phases. You have different phases. So sometimes you yourself will get lost. You're kind of lost, like, so many things, you have to put everything. For me, I think I want to put everything on one page where I can see what on earth am I doing? Okay, so I will always go back to this framework of research procedure where I will have the research objective for each phase. I will have the research question for each phase, and then the data collection, and also analysis. Okay, and also the participants or the materials that I will be using. So this one is like, it is holistic in nature, where anybody who sees this will understand, okay, this is what she's doing, and this is how she plans to collect the data. And brothers and sisters, I would also like to highlight to you this fact that if you look at my research, this is the halal research that I'm doing now. If you look at phase 1, okay, look at the data collection. I am using corpus analysis and textual analysis, okay, because I am a linguist. Okay, so we have to look at the word level, at the word. Yeah, we are calculating the words and all those things and make meaning out of the words. But I did not just stop there. I go further. To look at the second phase, which are the customers. We have focus group discussion with the customers, and also third phase, we interviewed. We have interview sessions with the companies, stakeholders, who are the manufacturers, food suppliers, and all these things. Okay, so you see, the nature of my research has always been the textual analysis plus social investigation. Okay, social investigation. You have to have focus group and semi-structured interview. Okay, to make sense of the textual analysis, to make sense of it, to give meaning to the words that you have found in the promotional discourse materials. Okay, so that's why I like to combine textual plus social investigation. Okay, so some common data collection methods. I'm very sure all of you know this. Okay, I'm sure you have heard of this. Okay, are you familiar with this? I think all of you are very familiar with this. Case study research, record keeping, or I would call, some people would call this document analysis. Okay, document analysis. So when we talk about document analysis, documents can vary depending on the kind of research that you are doing. I had a friend who did, my good friend, she did her PhD by looking at the diary entries, the diary entries or journals of her students. Okay, diary entries. So hers was qualitative research where she looked at the diary entries of her students, okay, as part of her data collection method. Okay, very interesting. All right, and then process of observation. Okay, when you observe, you go, as I mentioned to you just now. Okay, we need to go into the natural setting. All right, so you observe. Okay, so it's either observation can take two forms. One is you are the participant. Okay, you are the participant. You are doing participant observation. Participant observation meaning, okay, you are a part of the setting. You become part of the setting. Okay, you participate in that natural setting. For example, if let's say you are doing a research with the orang asli, the aborigines, okay, you become part of them. You become part of them. And if you can Google Margaret Mead, I mean later, not now, please. Margaret Mead, you can see pictures of her. Yeah? Not that she's transforming herself to become the aborigines, but she is, you know, she tries to blend into their way of life, into their way of thinking, trying to understand them. Okay, so that is for ethnographic study. So one is participant observation. The other one is you are just a researcher, meaning you are a researcher, you are wearing the cap of a researcher, you are going into it, and you are just recording what you see, you know, you are taking notes, you are video recording the whole thing. Okay, so that is another kind of role that you can play, okay, as an observer. All right, but you do not get involved in it. You just observe whatever that you see, itu je. That's all that you are going to capture. You're not going to disturb or anything. You're just going to watch and see, observe. All right, yeah. And you know, I think a qualitative researcher must always be alert. Okay, that is another thing I want to share with you. You have to be alert. All right, even interview sessions with your response, very, very important. Okay, right. Ethnographic research, okay, as I mentioned to you just now, okay, like, you know, into that particular focus groups. Okay, focus group, you may have about a particular issue that you are trying to solve, or that you are trying to discuss, or that you are trying to investigate. Okay, but maybe these people, these 6 to 10 people, they come from different fields. Okay, they are, you know, they come in with different experiences. Okay, maybe you want to have the parents, the teachers, the headmaster. Okay, put them all together. Okay, let them shout at each other. Okay, all right. So that is focus group. Okay, but brothers and sisters, let me tell you this: when you have focus group, to me, a caveat that I need to make. I have never handled focus group before, but what I have seen and observed is that in order for you to do focus group discussions, okay, you yourself, I mean, it is best if you are the moderator. Okay, if it is best if you are the moderator, do not give that responsibility to another person. Okay, let it be you who handles the discussion, and you have to be well read. You have to be well read. You have to have an overall view of the whole thing before you have the focus group discussion. Okay, why? Because in order for you to moderate well and to really get answers to the questions that you want, you have to know what are the other sub issues, the underlying issues, you know, so that you can ask the right question and get the right answer. I think that's very important. Okay, now one-on-one interview. Okay, for interview, I am very familiar with interviews. Okay, you can have semi-structured interview or open interview. Open interview means, okay, you go there unprepared. Okay, you go there unprepared, meaning not unprepared in what sense? You have not prepared the questions yet. Some people, they are so like, you know, they are just so good at it. All right, they can just you know, they can just listen a bit and then then they will have tons of questions to ask. Okay, but to me, for research purposes, I will always prepare the interview questions earlier before I have the session. I will always prepare that. It's very important for me. Because why? Because sometimes, brothers and sisters, if you do not prepare the interview questions earlier, what we are afraid of is that you get carried away with the conversation, and yet the conversation or the input that you get is not helping you to answer your research questions at all. You're really going all around all other things, you know, covering this and that, but not answering the questions that you want answers for. So that is the danger if you don't have any prepared questions before you have an interview. Okay. Okay, moving on. Okay, let me see. Why is okay. Dealing with an uncommon technique. Okay, so just now I showed you common. These are common techniques. Okay, I think everybody knows this, inshallah. Yeah, you have learned this in your research methodology class. But what about this one here? Uncommon technique. Okay. Let's see. Right. So I'm talking about think aloud protocol. Think aloud protocol. How many of you have heard of this before? Think aloud protocol. Can you write? Can you write in the chat, please? Just if yes, just say yes. You know, I just want to see yes or no. That's all. Can you do that? Okay, many no. Yes. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. Then I think it's worth it for me to share with you what this is all about, just in case this particular technique is useful for you. Okay, it's useful for you, inshallah. Okay. So, so think aloud protocol. Yeah. Now, before I go into what think aloud protocol is, okay, let me just share with you my experience. I used think aloud protocol when I was doing my PhD. Okay, my PhD, and the purpose of me using think aloud protocol was mainly to identify the reading strategies that law students use in reading legal cases. Okay. So basically, for my PhD, I was looking at reading strategies of legal cases. Okay, so that was the main thing. Okay, the focus of my research. So from literature, I knew that, okay, one of the important methods that I should know is TAP. Think aloud protocol. Okay, I know it from day one. I know that this is, okay, the method that I have to be good at. I have to master this, okay, in order for me to do my PhD well, to get the result that I want. Okay, now firstly, let us look at what I'm sorry, my slide doesn't seem to be moving. Okay. Is there a problem here? Oh, sorry. Okay. TAP. TAP, okay, in short, means verbalizing the thoughts. Verbalizing the thoughts. Okay. You have to verbalize your thoughts. Okay, while you are reading. Now, there is a difference between reading and verbalizing the thoughts. Okay, let me try and make you understand what I mean. Okay, I am sharing with you a transcript of a student, all right, a law student, all right, who did the reading of a case for me. And I recorded, don't worry, this is not his real name, okay? This is a pseudonym. So this is the transcript of the reading of the case. So basically, I audio and videotape this. I audio and videotape this, all right? And then I get the student to read. I recorded everything, and then after that, I transcribed. So this is the transcription. This is the transcription. So what TAP means is, now, if you look at if you look at the transcript here, okay, R is researcher, okay, and then this one here, okay, so okay, dear participant, this is actually the one in italics is actually the text, the case, okay, the case law that the person had to read. So the person read, the student read, okay. So those in italics are those the words that appeared in the case law, the thoughts that came to his mind. So after reading this phrase, dear participant, please read the legal case given, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, okay, this is fact, material facts. Material facts referring not to the paragraph above, but actually to the paragraph below. Okay. I know that some of you will be like baffled, you know, like, okay, what on earth is Dr. Adina talking about? In order for you to understand this, okay, because I did case law, yeah, this is the how shall I say, the format, okay, the format of a case law. Maybe you have never seen. I mean, I'm sure many of you may not have seen how a case law looks like. Okay, a case law. Okay, but this is how I'm showing you a snapshot of it. Okay, that this is, for example, here on 18 November 2011, this is the story, basically. Okay, this is the story of what actually happened. Okay, so when the student said, okay, this is material facts, in law, material facts is very, very important because they are considered facts. To us laymen, it sounds like a story. A story on certain date, this person bought a second-hand Samsung mobile phone, okay. But so to me, what is important then was that this, to me, this okay, this is material facts, is actually a very, very important statement for me as a researcher, because the student is actually trying to signal to his brain, telling his brain, all right, that okay, here comes the material facts. Okay, so I have to focus better so that I can understand what this case is all about. So TAP, okay, verbalizing your thought, I am interested in the line that I have highlighted here. Not in the way he read the case, but rather in the things, in the thoughts that came to his mind when he's reading the case. Okay, so that is the meaning of think aloud protocol. Okay, let me move to my next slide. Okay, here. Then he said, this case is about law of contract. So that is something he is telling himself. He wasn't talking to me, you know. Even though I was right in front of him, I didn't do anything. I just listened. Okay, I just let him do whatever he wanted. Okay, so he was telling himself, oh, this is law of contract. Okay, and then here, okay, so to think about this case, we need to know what it is, the issue on this. Okay, so all that, the paragraph that I put in red there, right? Those are the thoughts that came to his mind. He was some sort of talking to himself or repeating the material facts to himself in his own words, so that he would be able to understand the case better. So that is his technique. That is his strategy. Okay. And then look at down here, Sundam Varaya case. This is a high court case, negligence, duty of care, and contributory negligence. So he said, okay. Now to us laymen, okay, okay is like, okay lah, okay, right? But okay, if you are wearing a cap of a researcher, okay, this is very important, brothers and sisters. When you are wearing the cap of a researcher, the utterance of the word okay is very, very important to you, because the respondent may just say okay, but what is he okaying to? Okay, that was why when I conducted this method, after after the session, okay, after he read the thing, I had an interview session with him right after the reading, where I straight away asked him, okay, just now when you were reading this part, you mentioned okay. What does it mean? What are you okaying to? So he told me that he said okay because it means that he understood the story, he understood the case, he understood what it was all about. He understood that the case has been presided at the High Court. It's a High Court case, and it has got to do with negligence, duty of care. So it is tort law. So these are the things, you know, he's trying to make connections with his content or doctrinal knowledge. Okay, so that okay to us layman may just like, okay lah, okay, ignore. But brothers and sisters, if you're wearing the cap of a researcher, you need to be curious. Okay, apa okay? Okay, apa? You know, like what are you okaying to? So these are the things that you need to have, this curiosity. Okay, so you need to, you see, if you do this, if you do this thing to 10 students, okay, if you do this thing to 10 students, you apply this to 10 students, okay, many of them may say okay, okay. You see them saying okay, but the meaning of the okay will be different. The meaning of the okay will be different. I had another student, a female student, okay, who mentioned okay. So I said to her, what do you mean by okay? Every time you write certain paragraph and then you say okay. What do you mean okay? She said to me that to her okay means that she understood what she has read. So she's telling herself, okay, I understood, and now I can move on reading the other paragraphs. So, you know, different people will have a different interpretation, even though it's just okay. But to us, like, what's the big deal? It's okay. But no, it is a big deal. It is a big deal. Okay, sorry about this. Okay. So the take-home message is, okay, when using any qualitative research methods, please ensure you do sufficient background study on them. More so if the method you plan to use is uncommon and has many criticisms. Okay, why do I say that? Many criticisms. Okay, let me tell you this, brothers and sisters. When I wanted to do Think a Lot protocol, it was very difficult for me. I will be very honest with you. It was difficult for me because it is such a very uncommon method. It was very difficult for me to get. I couldn't find the method being explained in any qualitative research books. Okay, even by the prominent writers of qualitative research. Okay, I couldn't find that. I had to get, you know, they are all over the place here and there. So I have to download this, download that, and then when I read, I knew beforehand that there were some criticisms against Think a Lot protocol. All right, some people were kind of unhappy. They questioned a lot about this. So what I did was I read the whole thing. I read as many articles or sources that I can get my hands on talking about Think a Lot protocol, and I listed down all the criticisms. All right, and then I address all that criticisms in my chapter 3 on methodology, okay, where I describe the method by showing how I will tackle the weak points. The weak points, for example, the precautions that you are taking or the protocol that you have developed to ensure that their worries will be addressed, that the worries of the critics will be addressed. I think that is very, very important. That is very, very critical. When you know that, you know, when it is something rare, it's not that it has never been used. It has been used before, but it's rare. Not many people are using it. So you have to be extra cautious. Because for me, I had to be extra cautious because this is my PhD that I'm talking about. Okay, if the assessors they trash my data collection, there goes my PhD, you know. So I want to make sure that I give very good justifications why I'm using this technique, and I mentioned the criticisms that were mentioned regarding this particular technique, and I address all that. If they say this, I will say I will do this. If they say this, I will mention that I will do this, so that those who read will have faith and will trust that I have done, as a researcher, I've done the right thing. Okay, right. So Alhamdulillah, brothers and sisters, even though I used an uncommon method, Alhamdulillah, okay, I didn't face any problem. So maybe that is one thing, one advice that I can give you. Yeah. Okay. Another issue that I want to bring to attention is on courtesy bias. Courtesy bias during interview. Okay. Brothers and sisters, as I mentioned to you just now, courtesy bias is not something common. Okay. To be honest with you, when I first did my study, this is part of my, I came across this when I was doing my PhD. I wasn't aware of it. Okay, I wasn't aware of it at all. Okay, of this courtesy bias. I wasn't aware of it at all. It was after my, it was during my, the piloting, when I was piloting my interview. That was when I sensed this thing. It was like this. Let me tell you this. It was like this. I knew that before I use any particular method or approach, I have to pilot, because I'm new at it. I want to pilot. I want to pilot the technique so that I will feel more confident when I do with other students, with the real respondents. Okay, and also I want to make sure that things will be properly structured. I have a proper protocol when I do my interview. So I knew that I had to do the pilot for my interview, and I did that. And I was never aware of courtesy bias. It was during the interview, when I was facing the student, then I was like, it was like, I don't know how to put it to you. It was this very deep, there are these deep voices in me saying that something doesn't sound right with this student. I can feel it. Okay, I can feel that something is not right. And to be honest with you, even at that particular time, I couldn't find the word. I mean, I didn't know that the term was courtesy bias. The term of what I felt was called courtesy bias. I didn't even know that. It was after my PhD, then only I remembered that experience. So I did some research, and then I knew, oh, that was called courtesy bias, that particular experience that Allah has given me, that I am going to share with you today. It is called courtesy bias, and I want you to be aware of that. Be careful of that. So what is courtesy bias? So courtesy bias, according to Mackey and Guest, and also Crawford, is a phenomenon that happens in research where the participants or respondents provide the feedback according to what they think the researcher expects from them, rather than share the true picture of the situation under study. Okay, take note of the highlighted phrase. Respondents provide feedback according to what they think the researcher expects from them. Okay, so this is called courtesy bias, and you have to be very, very careful of this. Okay. Okay, let me show you the transcript of this courtesy bias, and also you can see the two things there. The first paragraph is the conversation, and the second one down there are the things that I noticed and my explanation of it. How I detected this courtesy bias. Okay, now, so let's focus on the upper part. Okay, so I is the interviewer and R respondent. Yeah, so interviewer. Okay, I see. okay, if you can just like reflect on your studies, what do you think is your biggest challenge for you as a law student? So I asked this particular student, and then she said to me, the biggest challenge would be reading law cases, because that is, I mean, in law, without law cases, there is nothing, you know. So there's a lot of cases, the long ones, you know. If we refer to English cases, so like the old days, their English is different. It's very difficult to understand. So I think that would be the biggest challenge so far. Okay, so these were the words coming from my respondent during the piloting session. Okay, so now let's go through the note that I'm making here. Now, note that in discourse units 11 and 12, 11 and 12 meaning the two up here, when she was asked on her opinion on her biggest challenge as a law student, her answer was reading law cases. Okay, but the moment she mentioned that phrase, the researcher had a strange feeling that somehow it sounded hollow. Now, I am relating my experience. I am relating my experience. It sounded hollow. Her explanation also sounded forced, as if it didn't come from her heart. The researcher could see she was trying to sound convincing. Besides the flat tone of her voice, her body language, such as avoiding looking at the researcher, and her sense of discomfort alerted the researcher on the awkwardness of her answers. Most importantly, since the researcher has taught her before, she knew that the student possessed sufficient language competence to enable her to read the judicial opinions well. Okay, so you see, this is what I went through when I was sitting in front of her, okay, and you know, witnessing her, looking at her, giving her answers. Now, I have to admit that when I did my piloting, this particular student whom I chose was my ex-student. She was with me for quite some time. Okay, I know her level of English competence. Okay, so that was why I felt what I felt. You know, this strange feeling and all that. And I felt like she was just making it up. She was just trying to make it up. So you know what happened? You know what happened? I stopped the recording. I stopped the recording and I confronted her nicely. I told her that, you know, I was honest with her. I said to her, you know, I felt somehow deep in my heart, I felt as if you are not being honest with me. You are trying to please me. You are giving answers to please me because you know the research that I'm doing, you know the topic, you know, and what more, you know me personally. That is the thing. And true enough, she became, you know, she also confided in me. Okay, she told me the truth that she felt like she thought that this particular exercise will have got to do with her marks. Okay, she needs to do this well. She needs to provide me the answer that I'm looking for so that I can give her good grades. She thought that it would affect her grades. You see? Right. So I told her, not at all. This has got nothing to do with your grades. I just want to know the truth. I want to know the real picture, what you guys are facing as law students, okay? So I had to sort of explain to her, make her trust in me, all right? And maybe I didn't brief her. Maybe that was partly my fault, okay? That before the piloting, I should have briefed her. I should have told her that you know, this is on voluntary basis. It has got nothing to do with your present studies at ICOL. You know, you are no more with CELPAT. I mean, at that time I was with CELPAT. So it has got nothing to do with anybody's grades. Okay, this is just purely your honest information, your honest sharing with me. So, you know, after I did that, after I sort of, you know, put everything in perspective, then Alhamdulillah, it went so well. She, you know, she shared with me She gave me the true colors, the true colors of what, the challenges faced in reading legal cases. So I want to share with all of you that, be careful and take note. Look at here, I mentioned here, take note of the tone of voice, the body language. Okay, you must be careful of that. So the points that I want to highlight here is, all right, if you are conducting the interview for the first time, it's best if you pilot the session. You need to pilot the session. Piloting the session is very, very important, especially for novice researchers. Novice, baru. Okay, you're still young at it. You're still new at it. You're not seasoned interviewers. So you need to have piloting sessions. So the advantages is that, of course, definitely it can avoid you from going into courtesy bias, having, because then the data will not be accurate. It will not reflect the true things. Those are just made up to make you feel good. You don't want that. You don't want to feel good. As a researcher, you don't want to be made to feel good. You want to know the truth. Okay, we want to investigate the truth of the matter. So we need people to be honest and tell us, what the reality is. Okay, and then check the clarity of your questions. Okay, when you do piloting, okay, you can also check the quality of the questions that you are giving to the respondents. Okay, because sometimes you may get like, I'm sorry, madam, can you please repeat? Can you please rephrase? I don't really understand your question. So then only oh, okay, I have to change my question a bit because obviously, maybe certain words that you are using is too complicated for them to understand. So maybe you have to bring down the level of complexity. So that is also important. And then check the suitability of the venue or the mode of interview. Okay, so suitability of the venue. Because during my study, I only use one place as the venue to do the interview session. And I wanted to know whether, whether they feel the aura of the room, is it okay? Is it, I also want to know that because I don't want any other factors to interfere into my interview, because the interview should be just me and her and no other things that can disrupt, okay, the session. Okay, I don't want the aircon to interrupt the session. I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. I don't want all that. Okay, so that's why I do the piloting, okay, to check on all this. Now, also when you do interview, brothers and sisters, please remember this. Okay, please remember this. As much as you want to get answers to your research questions, to your questions, do not ever, ever, ever give leading questions to the interviewees. Leading questions. What is the meaning of leading questions? Questions that will give answers that you want to hear. That is very unethical. You are sort of like throwing, some terms, okay, which are related to the answers that you want. That should not happen. Okay, that should not happen. If that happened, you have already tainted. The interview process. That should not happen. All the words, all the ideas must come to them. You don't suggest to them the ideas. You don't suggest to them the words. Okay, just because you hope that, oh ya Allah, please lah, cakap lah, you cannot, because that is why I said qualitative researchers cannot have preconceived ideas. Let the interviewees say what they want to say, be them good or bad, because that is the truth from their perspective. That is the truth from their perspective. Okay, so do not worry about that, but don't give leading questions. Now, during interview sessions, take note of the interviewee's body language and tone of voice. That is another important thing. So that was why normally when I did my studies, I will conduct the interview sessions myself. I have yet to learn to train students to do interview sessions. Okay, because to me, I think very, very important. It's very important for you that when you do the interview sessions, you look at the person's body language, whether she was like scratching her forehead, or whether when she was talking to you, she wasn't looking at you, she was trying to avoid that eye contact. It, you know, it says a lot. It says a lot. Okay, and you have to be very, as I said, you have to be very alert. Qualitative researchers must be very alert. Why is she scratching her nose like that? You know, and the thing is, you can always ask. I noticed this now that when you were answering this, and of course, you know, when she was answering, you can, like, you know, you have a piece of paper next to you and you scribble the things that you saw during the interview. And right after the interview, you can always ask, why are you there? You know, so always ask for clarification. Kenapa? Why? Okay. So take note of the body language as well as the tone of voice. Very, very important. Okay. Data management. Okay. So just now, we mentioned that data for qualitative research is very rich, very detailed. Okay. So these are among the forms or types of data that, you know, you will be collecting for your research. Okay, it could be field notes, it could be official records, it could be memos, videotapes, personal documents, photographs, interview transcripts. Okay. Now, I think that, you know, when you, for example, if you are doing the interview, right, request if you can also do the videotape of the person's face, so that when you do your transcription and then you can play the video, and you can also see the facial expression during the interview, if the person allows it. Okay, if the person doesn't allow, please respect the person's privacy. Okay, all right. So these are the kinds of data. So you see that it's a lot. It's a lot actually. Okay, humongous of data that you have to deal with. Okay, so for this, okay, my advice to you is keep the data in a few places. Okay. Your external storage. Okay, during my PhD, I duplicated. Okay, I repeat, I duplicated my data into 3 places, 3 external storage. I bought 3. Okay, I bought 3. I make sure I keep all that in all these 3 places. Okay, now we have cloud storage. So if you have access to cloud storage, you do that. I once had my master student. I once had one master student. Alhamdulillah, he has already graduated. I really pity him, you know. He went to videotape presentations, student making presentations as part of his research. Okay, so he has already recorded, I think, about 10 presentations. So he used, when he did the recording, he used his handphone. Okay, his handphone. But the problem was that when after the recording, after each recording, he did not straight away transfer. He kept everything in his phone. Right? He kept everything in his phone. And suddenly his phone crashed. Allahu Akbar. Suddenly the handphones crashed. Okay? So there goes all the 10 presentations where one presentation took about half an hour or 45 minutes. Okay, there goes the treasure of your data. Please do not fall into this trap. Do not make this particular mistake. Every time, okay, it doesn't matter what you use to record. You can use the video or the audio or what, I mean, you can use your handphone, you can use the gadgets and all that. The moment right after the recording, transfer, duplicate. You have to organize it systematically. However busy you are, after the recording, go back, straight away transfer. That's it. Because you just never know, okay? Someone may steal your laptop. I have had, you know, I have seen, Alhamdulillah, during my time, Alhamdulillah, my computer was very kind to me. Allahu Akbar. I really thank God for that. No glitch, no nothing. But I have heard of friends whose laptop was stolen, the computer crashed. Okay, so many things. So please, for us researchers, especially qualitative researchers, our data is our treasure. So please take good care of it. Okay, do not place everything in your computer. Okay, and organize the data in a systematic way for easy retrieval and for the purpose of triangulation. Okay, this is another thing that you need to know. You need to triangulate your findings. Okay, make use of available software. Nowadays we have Atlas TI, we have NVivo, etc. You know, it would be good if you can get yourself, can get yourself to learn Atlas TI and NVivo. Okay, because I'm familiar with Atlas TI and NVivo. Both are data management, a very good data management platform for qualitative data. Okay, and also for you to do the analysis. Yeah, right. Okay, data analysis of qualitative research. Okay, so in terms of data analysis for qualitative research, according to Bogdan and Bicklin 2016, okay, the process of data analysis is like a funnel. Things are open at the beginning or top and more directed and specific at the bottom. Okay, so funnel. All right, so this is the idea proposed by Bogdan and Bicklin. For me, the one on the left is the framework that I use, okay, for my research analysis, okay, in terms of data management and the meaning making process. Okay, so you see here that it is like a funnel, but double funnel. Allahu Akbar. I'm sorry about that. What happened? Yeah, I wonder. Sorry about that glitch. I don't know what happened actually. Okay. Okay. So for this framework of research analysis, okay, this is how I look at the data. Okay. So first you have the data management and then you have the meaning making. So for data management, first you do the initial coding and then you analyze your data, you organize your data, and you identify the subthemes. Subthemes. Now, and so this one is rather, you see, from general to specific. The purple arrow or the purple arrows. Okay, something general, initial coding, to subthemes, becoming specific. And then from after subthemes, you develop the themes, and then you cluster, and then you draw the conclusions. So from themes, which is specific, then you relate to a more general thing. Okay, until you are able to draw conclusions on the issues that you want to investigate. Okay, so this is how I look at data analysis for qualitative research. Okay. Okay, so this one is to give you an example. Okay, from something very general to very specific. Okay, example here, this is a part of my research on reading of legal cases. So my RQ2 was, how do the students cope with the linguistic complexity? Okay, so skills that a law student needs to possess in order to be able to read legal cases. So this is the RQ. All right, so then I code the things. Okay, so I take from what, you know, the feedback that I got from the students. For example, they say that they need vocabulary, they have to know the legal principles, they have to have the solid background of the topic, they have to have good command of English. And this one here, no, I don't think so. I don't think English is that important. Okay, so various, you know, and I code all this. And so the theme from their responses here, the themes that I could make is strong knowledge of law. Okay, I'm meaning themes to answer my RQ2. strong knowledge of law, proficient in English, and English is not important. Okay, so because to a few students, when the English is superb, okay, so to them it's not a big deal. Okay, so this is what I mean by, you know, extracting, okay, the themes from the data. Okay, so like I said earlier, let the data speak. Let the data speak to you. You don't impose these things. Now, even though, let me tell you this, even though when I was doing my literature review on the topic, I knew the literature has shown to me, okay, has already indicated to me that vocabulary is very important. Legal principles are very important. Having good strategies are very important. But I don't impose this on the students, okay? Let those things come out. Let them tell us vocabulary is important, legal principles are important. Let that come from them, okay? Then you build the themes, okay? Okay, so in other words, brothers and sisters, when you deal with qualitative research, yeah, when you deal with qualitative research, I mentioned earlier that as a researcher, you are not supposed to have any preconceived ideas on what to expect to get. Okay, you should look at your data in a clean slate. Let the data tell you what it is, and you pick it up. So how I visualize my journey when I deal with qualitative data is like this. At first, you know, I get tons of data, okay, from the videos, from the transcriptions, etc., from the books, from the this and that. So everything is a bit blurry. It is blurry like this. Okay, it is so blurry. I don't know. I cannot expect anything. But the moment you are able to extract the themes and all those things, you have followed the procedure, the proper procedure of doing qualitative research analysis, then eventually this is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get. You will be able, inshallah, to see this beautiful picture, okay, laid right in front of your eyes. You can see the river, you can see the trees, you can see the sky. Okay, so this is what, to me personally, this is what qualitative research is all about. You begin with something that, you know, it could be haphazard, but eventually, then only you see, oh, macam ni rupanya. Okay, these are the reasons. That's why the students are like that. These are their actual problems. Okay, so then you have the oh, I see. Now I can make sense of it. That kind of moments, you know. Okay. Also, when you do your data analysis, it's very important for you to ensure inter-rater reliability. Okay, very important. Please make sure you employ inter-rater reliability. Okay, so this is the formula, right, for doing inter-rater. To me, I think it's very important to have this inter-rater reliability so that people will not question. You know, it's like what it means is this. If you see this picture, if you are able to see this picture, all right, and if you give your data to another person, all right, who is also an expert in the field, all right, or maybe, you know, someone who is well versed in it, you get that person to go through the process that you have gone through, but maybe not overall, but maybe you took a bit of the sampling of the data and give it to the person. The person should be able to arrive at the same conclusion, to arrive at the same picture. That is the meaning of inter-rater, and this is the calculation, by Erickson and Simon. Okay, it should be 80% is considered highly reliable. Okay, all right. So my take-home point is that data analysis must be done in a systematic manner using proper procedure. Inter-rater reliability is important to ensure that the findings are reliable and not biased. Because if you don't do reliability check. Okay, I believe that you might have a problem when the examiners look at your thesis, because they may say that, you know, is this you? Is this from your point of view? What about others? What do they think about it? Would they have the same idea? Would they agree to how you have done it? So you have to get someone to check whether you are on the right track or not. Okay, all right. So that is very important for qualitative, yeah, for qualitative. Okay, so before I I end my talk today, I just want to share with you an ebook, yeah, an ebook which I have edited. Okay, I was the editor of this book, and I would like to share this book with you, with all of you. Okay, the title of the book is Enriching the Islamic Tradition in Research Inquiry, Some Practical Guidelines in Using Qualitative Data Collection Techniques. Okay, this book was published this year, at the beginning of this year. Now, why am I suggesting this book for you? Okay, the main reason, my main niyyah, when I started this book was to help students, okay? Because remember, I mentioned to you earlier that I went through a lot of challenges in getting, in trying to understand what Think Aloud protocol was, the TAP, right? So because of that, I felt like, you know, and I'm very sure, you know, if it is very difficult for me, some students may find it difficult as well to find information about the techniques or the methods that they want to use. Okay, so because of that, I felt like I want to write a book. Okay, I want to write a book for the students and also for novice researchers. And this book is very it is available here, Book Capital. Okay, it is an online bookstore. Okay, it can be purchased there. It's not expensive at all. It's only 16 ringgit. Okay, and the one unique thing about the content of the books, I will show you the contributors, some of the topics in the book. But what I want to also highlight to you is that each technique, there are 9 techniques that my friends and I are sharing in this book, and for each technique we relate it. This is very unique. We relate it to the Islamic tradition, especially in terms of the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay, so this is something, to me, I think is really a wonderful contribution. It was a really wonderful experience, you know, writing this book and also the chapters. Okay, so these are among the chapters that I want to share with you. Okay, so here I have a friend from UM. She is sharing her experiences when she developed an e-graphics book for research. Okay, and then here another friend doing on diary studies as a research tool. Okay, this is my topic, demystifying the minds via Think Aloud protocol. So if you want to know what Think Aloud protocol is in detail, please get the book. Okay, it's very interesting to me. I think you know, I think all of us, all the 9 contributors, we felt so happy that, you know, this is a part of our contribution for the Ummah. Okay, and also for your information, when you go through the chapters, okay, you will also learn on the do's and don'ts. Okay, what are the things you should, what are the things you should not? Okay, because these researchers, they have used the technique, they have gone through it, they have committed mistakes, and now they're sharing, okay, with other people, okay, other future researchers. So last but not least, okay, these are some references for your further reading, okay, on research, on qualitative research. Yeah. So finally, thank you very much, everybody. And I wish you all the best in your studies and in your research, okay, to those friends of mine who are doing their research, okay. Please enjoy doing qualitative research. Of course, it's any research will be very challenging. But I think qualitative research is more so because it's time consuming and you need to be very detailed. You need to really look at the word level, okay? Very, and also the body language, etc., etc. So with that, Sister Damia, I end my talk today. Thank you, and I welcome questions from the participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Dr. Nadlina, especially for sharing your research framework process with us. I hope most of us can use that one, as long as the supervisor is okay with that. It's something very interesting. I hope this will be very useful for all of us who join here. Thank you very much for sharing it. And most importantly, Prof, you mentioned something very interesting here, which is to handle your data very careful, because this happened to many people. So otherwise, you will lose your data. So make sure you store it where you can find it anywhere and anytime. Yeah, this is very important. So now we will be opening the Q&A session, inshallah. So we have one question here. I don't know, brother or sister Safik, who asked, Prof, the TAP is done alone or with informants?
Okay. Thank you for the question. All right. When I read the literature, all right, some proponents of TAP, okay, they suggested that let the participant, all right, do the TAP alone, which means that you just record, you just have a camera, all right, and then the person will read aloud. Okay, we'll do the reading. Yeah, we'll do the TAP. But for me, all right, I wanted to be there. Not that I want to interfere. No, I didn't interfere at all. Okay, I just did my own thing. But at that time, I will also like observe. I love to observe. Okay, yeah. I think for me, and I justified it. That is another thing. All right. Whether you want to be there or you don't want to be there, the most important thing is in your thesis, you explain it explicitly that the researcher was present during because. Okay, right. But please make sure that, that's why I said you have to explain the protocol properly, that you mention that you do not disturb, you do not, you just want to be there. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Prof. I hope this answers your question. And the second question is Brother Izzuddin is asking, in the case of courtesy bias and research does not notice that during the interview, should the data be included in the analysis?
I mean, okay, if, of course, you see, when you don't realize it, of course, you will take it as part of that is the part of the data for your study, right? It's only when you realize that will be a different thing. I suppose if you don't realize it, then you have no choice. I mean, you will take it as part of the data for your study. Unless you knew, but you still include. That is unethical.
All right. Okay? All right, I hope you get the answer of your question. And then we proceed with the following question. Sister Nurul is asking, how about research paradigm? It is compulsory to be included in thesis or optional?
Research paradigm. For my PhD, yes, I had one subtopic on research paradigm, just to explain on why I am doing this qualitatively.
All right, thank you for answering the question. The following question is is asked by Brother Abrik. He's asking that you mentioned about the importance of pilot session study. how
Yeah.
many pilot interview are considered acceptable that need to be conducted before collecting the actual data? Is
Mm.
there a golden rule regarding the number?
Mm. Okay. I will be very honest. Okay, I don't know whether there's any golden rule or not. Okay, but for me, I did it once only. I did it once only. Okay, mainly because yes, I noticed the courtesy bias at the initial at the starting of the piloting session, but I stopped it immediately, and then I proceeded with the same student, and I noticed that there was nothing wrong with my questions, with the questions that I have prepared. Okay, she was able to answer it nicely. She could understand it properly, so I wasn't worried. But I think, brother, if I may suggest, if let's say there were problems with your questions, meaning there were, the your respondents during the piloting, maybe the person was not able to understand your questions so well. So maybe you have to rephrase. When you rephrase, okay, maybe it's good if you have second round of piloting with another person, just to check your research question, just to check your questions, your interview questions. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for answering the question. I think we will go for the following question, which is asked by brother or sister Farah Ramli. The question is, do you consider content analysis as part of the qualitative research? We'll explain a bit on content analysis. Thank you.
Okay. Content analysis. I think content analysis is the same as textual analysis. They are actually under qualitative research. Okay, but they are more into the textual element of it. Okay, meaning to say that, yeah, I mean, this is how I look at it. Yeah, qualitative research can be the textual part as well as the human part. Okay, the human part is when you deal with the respondents, with people. Yeah, the other one, textual or document or content. Okay, it's just maybe you are analyzing a book, for example. It's also qualitative in nature, but it can also be elements of a quantity, because sometimes the findings you may want to put it in the form of numbers and numerical. Okay, so it depends. Okay, before that, brother Balde, there is something I think I need to mention to all of you and highlight this thing to all of you. Yeah. When you do your research, please, before you do your research, please do get ethics approval. Ethics approval. Please get ethics approval, especially when you are going to interview people, anyone. Okay, it could be students, it could be patients, it could be old people. Okay, I think I want to impress this upon everyone here who is attending the session, the importance of ethics approval. Because why? I realized that this ethical consent, I noticed that it's not really being highly impressed upon social sciences, okay, or social scientists. Okay, the sciences, especially the medical sciences, they are very, very particular about ethics approval. Okay, but I think from my observation, I noticed social scientists, they lack this awareness. So I want to make all of you aware the importance of it. Yeah. Just to furthermore, when you, after you have finished your thesis, you will be writing your articles and all that. And I realized, and I have come across cases where some publishers, before you can publish with them, they want to see the ethical approval from the university. So please get the ethics approval before you proceed with your research. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Prof. I think it's very important to be ethical and legal. while doing anything. So I see someone raise hands. I don't know, brother or sister Samia. You can unmute yourself. If you have a question, you may ask Prof the question.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Like Doctor mentioned, that let the data speak to you, right? So this is a very new point, and it seems, a very productive, very beneficial point for the research. But my question is that it means that we cannot have a theory beforehand, because every time when we read articles, so every time we will get new ideas. So it is possible that those ideas, will not be super fit for the theory we have already selected. So what does it mean actually?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now when you talk about theories, so now for your studies, PhD studies particularly, all right, definitely you will have theories or concepts that becomes the base, okay, of your research, okay. So which means that in your chapter 2, you have to have either theoretical framework or conceptual framework. You must have that, okay. So which means that when we talk about the framework, okay, we are talking about the concepts or related theories that have been proposed, okay, by proponents of those of the study. All right. So now when I say let the data speak for itself, all right, what I'm trying to say is this: in your mind, okay, because of your reading that you have made, because of your understanding of the theory, okay, you know that this is the scope of the theory. This is the scope, okay, of the theory. So when you deal with your data, when you analyze your data, all right, what you will find is, all right, as you get the feedback from the people, you can already see, what this person is saying is relevant to this concept that I have read earlier. What this person is saying is related to this concept. You know, it's like there's a link. You can see the link. Okay. And at the same time, sometimes you will also come across new things like, this was not mentioned in the theory. This was not a part of the concepts that I have read before on this particular issue. So that can be your contribution, your new contribution to the present theory or to the present concepts related to the issue. Do you understand, Sania?
Yes. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Okay. Not that when I say have a clean slate, clear thoughts, blah, 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 it doesn't mean that you go in not knowing anything. You already have the knowledge, but you do not impose it on the data. You don't impose it, okay? Let the data, you take it out from the data. If you say that about the findings of my study shows this concept, okay, where you have to be able to quote that particular part from your data, okay?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. You link. Eh?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we will be taking 2 more questions. And then the following question is asked by brother or sister Saiful. He say, may I know if this method is suitable for library research, such as atlas.ti and
yes.
NVivo?
For yes, of course. Yes, of course. Library research. Oh, you mean library research where you want to write literature review? Oh, yes, of course. Yes, very useful. Allahu Akbar. I know that some people, they are used to Mendeley. Mendeley is also, another, but Mendeley is not a scientific analysis application. It's more of like when you want to write, okay, your articles and whatnot. But for lit review and library research, of course, you can use Atlas TI. You can do so many things with FSDI. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. And then we have one Noor who raised her hand. One Omar Fadli. Please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Dato.
Waalaikumsalam
I
warahmatullah.
I only have two simple questions.
Yes.
The first one is about because right now we have the usage of online and technology to ease
Yes.
us in every of the survey collection and everything.
Mm.
Previously, I got advices from lots of PhD students that I have to prepare like 1 year before I doing my research to allocate in collecting data if I choose to do surveys. But I think right now we have the advancement of technology. We can use online and then we can use like face online like this with the respondents. So how long do you think that right now I need to allocate my time if I want to do surveys? Is it still 1 year or actually the time is reduced already? And my second question is
Doctor, brother one, can I answer one by one?
okay, sure.
You have two questions, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now regarding surveys, okay, so surveys meaning you are using quantitative, right?
Yes.
Okay. Surveys can be, you can do it very fast, but the only thing about surveys, brother one, is like this. Okay, for surveys, okay, the data collection period can be shorter. Yeah. Okay, you can because it as long as you can distribute the survey far and wide, as wide as you can, get as many people to answer as you can, right? So that one is okay. But to me, all right, developing the survey is the most important thing. For quantitative, okay, for building instruments, we call the instruments, your research instruments, okay? The survey, the most difficult part for me, the part which I will be very, very careful of will be the development of the instrument. I will make sure that, number one, the way I word the questions, okay? I have to know what questions for which research objectives or research questions. And then also I have to know how, because for quantitative, the way you word will affect the way you analyze the data. Okay, because later on you have to do the analysis, right? So to me, I will be very, very careful in terms of that, and I will always validate. If I were you, if I want to use survey, I will make sure I prepare all that and I will get that thing validated first. Because it's like this. For us, qualitative researchers, before we go for an interview, we pilot the interview. For you, you should also pilot your instrument. Okay, once everything is okay, then only you can distribute to your target group. That's my answer. So in terms of the time, to me, collecting data, okay, let me tell you this. From experience, I managed to get 400, within a month, I managed to get 473 respondents for my survey, within a month.
Online.
For my recent research, for my most recent research, 400 something within a month. So it's not the duration. That's why I said for survey, you can get it inshallah very quickly, but the development of the instrument, especially for you, you're doing your PhD, right, brother one? So the examiners will be questioning you. Did you validate? How did you validate your instrument? Itulah. Because the moment they see that there's a weakness in your instrument, na'udzubillah lah. That to me, I think that's the most important thing.
All right, thank you, Prof. I think we are going one person, one question to give other people opportunity because we are going for.
Thank you, Dato.
Our time is
okay, welcome.
Our time is very short. We will be taking only 2 questions. After that, we will give you the Dr. Azlina contact, so you may contact them and try to ask your question later on. We are sorry, we cannot answer all the question. I will proceed with the next one who raised hand. Brother or sister Hazwani Fuad, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
I only have,
Azwani, okay.
yes, I only have a question. Is it a must for the interview question to be validated by any academician or any expert before we proceed with data collection?
Okay. For me, I did get my questions validated. But what I did was I showed it to my supervisors.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Just get, no, at least it's like this lah. It's like this. Whatever you do, show it to your supervisors. Okay, let them have a look. Let another person at least give their feedback on your, on the questions that you have. And then if it's okay with them, tak apalah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
But Hazwani, most important thing is you pilot. The validation is the piloting sebenarnya, Hazwani.
I see.
Because
okay.
when you do the piloting, then only you can know whether the students understand the questions as you want them to understand. That's why it's important for you to pilot. Because sometimes sama juga dengan survey question, sama. I have problems with survey questions. That's why I do not really like questionnaires. Because sometimes you ask this particular question and yet I have other questions to that question before I can give my answer, you see? Nampak tak?
Okay. Nampak.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof, for answering the question. We will be taking the last question from the chat box. Sister Rani is asking, those reliability also applicable for cultural heritage studies that use ethnography and phenomenology?
Oh, phenomenology.
Yeah, phenomenology. Yeah.
Hebat ni soalan. Phenomenology. How do you have interpreter? That is kind of difficult, I think, because okay, please check the literature, okay? But I'm just giving you my humble opinion. I think it's kind of difficult when you have phenomenology and you want to do inter-rater reliability, because phenomenology is very specific, very unique. It is something new, something that has not happened before. So it's kind of difficult to get another person to do the reliability check, I don't, to be honest, I do not know. I think you need to check the literature, okay? But just common sense wise, I think it's difficult to do reliability check for phenomenology or ethnography. Unless, for example, like ethnography, you give to the, let's say you're doing to the orang asli, so you get an orang asli to validate. That can be it lah. Okay, Brother Balde.
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor, so much.
Okay, Brother Balde, there is a question here regarding from Enas Abu Hamda regarding conceptual framework in the qualitative research. Okay, now I know that coming up with the conceptual framework is not an easy thing. All right, I also had to do a lot of my own research on what conceptual framework is all about. But now I know what it is. Okay, but I can share with you one reference that is very, very good for conceptual framework, developing conceptual framework for qualitative research. You can refer to my my slides. Inshallah, I will share with all of you my slides. Don't worry. The one on Maryam. The title is Maryam. The title of the book is sorry, not the title of the book. La ilaha illallah. The name of the author. Okay, can you hear me? I think there's some problems. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can hear you now.
Okay, there's something. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I will share with you later. But it's actually Maryam. The title of the book is Allahu Akbar. I cannot open my slides. There's some problem there. But I will share with you the slides later. Okay, in the further references, there is a name called Maryam. Maryam Sharon. Maryam B. Sharon, if I'm not mistaken. That one is really good. I find that very, very helpful.
Okay, Prof. Some people is asking if you can share the link for the book that you just mentioned in the slide later on. You share the book link if it is possible. Yeah, some attendees asking. Yeah.
I'm sorry, brother. I think my Wi-Fi is not good.
Yes.
You are breaking up. What is it?
Some people are asking if you can share the link of the books you mentioned before in the slide later on after the workshop.
The link for the books,
yes.
the names I can share. I don't have
Okay.
the links to the books. Oh,
Okay.
you mean my book?
Yes, your book. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Inshallah, I will share with the organizer lah.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
It's actually in the slide. So I will share the slide so you can see the link there. Yeah.
All right, Prof. All right. Thank you
Anything
very much.
else?
All right, thank you. So thank you everyone for attending today's session. Inshallah, this is the end of our webinar. And I hope all of you have learned a lot of things regarding what to do when doing qualitative research and what not to do. So this is the end of the workshop. And I would like again to thank Dr. Adlina for joining us and sharing all the knowledge she has shared with us. We really appreciate and we are really grateful for that. So I will pass back to Sister Nurdania. Thank you very much everyone for joining.